thorough pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Travers Day to you on a gray, overcast morning. Of course, if you're not with us at 8 o'clock, you don't realize we're on an hour early. You're going to find Seth and Racing Across America at 9 o'clock with his two guests as he goes to 9:40-ish. 11:40 is post time today. So,
and we're doing that because 9:45 we'll start the pregame show at NYRA. So we'll be done at about 9:40 and lead into the NYRA pregame and let them.
That's a long pregame.
Yeah, no,
that's 2 hours before post time.
But we had checked into it. Our man Dino gave them a call and got that, and they verified it on the show yesterday. They said they'll be on today at 9:45. So
well, it is a 13 race card, and it is. I mean, golf and horse racing have much in common besides the fact I love both. And one of them is you got to play it as it lies. And I really, truly would like Mother Nature to do us a favor. The second race is off the turf. I think that's noticeable, Seth, because I think that's one of those races where I think the NTOs got a lot of knockout power. We'll take a look at that. But 13 races, 11:40. We'll get done before 7, we hope.
And it was showery here yesterday, it never during the afternoon, it never like poured or anything, but it would intermittently kind of shower, which I realized because I got to the press box and I had left my mouse sitting here. So I hate using that little pad, so I had to walk back over, and I walked back over fairly nicely, and then when I started back, it started raining.
The pad. Why do you hate it?
I just find it not convenient, not efficient, and I don't know. For me, it's a pain in the neck.
Okay.
I much prefer the mouse.
Right. Okay.
I mean, maybe if I used it enough, I would be better. But I don't like
pad guy. I actually didn't know they gave mouses with laptops because of the trackpad to go along. But I almost begged Mother Nature to play nicely today, and it can only play nicely to a certain degree. I mean, boy, the turf course. I don't know what it would take, Seth, to get to summertime firm, like maybe 4 straight days of heavy winds and blue sky, so the sun can just dry it out. So I'm not, and I'd mentioned it before, and ad nauseum said that, really the Caravelle race, that it's been almost 3-4 weeks. I mean, I think one day they did label it as firm. Listen, it's their sandbox box. They can say whatever they want, but I'm just, kind of in the position that I don't know that it's ever going to be summertime firm to me for the meet. So at least if it's dry, the dirt course can be fast and clear and, harrowed and, and we can go, because this is a great card. I had, 13 races is, people I go, well, you have to understand that in the old days, it was like 9. So it's like 50%. It's almost like another half a day of work. So,
she doesn't have any Swedish fish.
Listen, I wasn't going to bring it up because she was so gracious last time. She's got a hall pass for a while, so I wasn't going to say that. She outdid herself. That doesn't, when you outdo yourself, that doesn't mean you raise the bar. That's the norm. She was very gracious. So once again, great television when we're.
Kim Weir from the TRF.
Thank you. Good morning.
And again, I will say Tuesday night was a fun night. You guys did a great job. The barbecue. I said to people, keep that on your calendar for next year if you didn't go, because it's one of the fun events of the summertime, and it benefits a great cause.
And I said that one of the on the air, so as I said, one of the gifts should be, one of the prizes or the silent auctions should be to sit with Seth on Racing Across America. They get a segment. They got to bid it up. It's going to raise big bucks, and they get to come in and do a 20-minute segment with Mr. Seth on some day.
I said somebody's sitting with me, and he's got him coming on TV. I'm chauffeuring him around town, bringing him for a haircut.
Seth is like, well, there's people that are like our TV show. I go, well, of course there are, but there's other people salivating at the chance to be on and talk horses. But it looked like a lot of fun Tuesday night, so hopefully it'll continue to grow and raise more and more money for the great cause. But hopefully it'll stay dry. People walking around town. Go ahead.
So far, it seems like it's going to turn out.
I think
my
you could win
drive-in
the
was
day.
sunny. Now it's kind of become a little bit overcast, but I think the
Just hold your finger.
It might have nice.
Yesterday might have been the most number of stop and starts rain ever.
It was
5. And I'm counting the early morning, the 11 o'clock. Andy and Sarah got rained on, I think, over on the front side, etc. So,
there was during their pregame. I was sitting back here. I was sitting back here doing some work after TV, like I often do, and I was watching the pregame, and it must have been exactly the same over on the front side as the back side. But when it rains, we can hear it on the tent, and so I'm working, and all of a sudden, it's raining, and literally, and Andy said the same. It was like 8 seconds. It was
South Florida in July.
Boom, and then it was over, and I think it did the same thing over there. But during the afternoon, there was some again, it was a little intermittent shower-like weather. So, but today I think it's going to be much nicer.
So, obviously yesterday we got the rain. We're hoping today just clear and fast on the dirt and maybe perhaps good on the turf, I think is the best that I will project in my mind we can receive.
Yesterday, the upset in the personal ensign, hoping for the showdown between Clairiere and Nest. It did not materialize as idiomatic upset things for Brad Cox, and came in with a couple of triple digits. If you're looking for an alternative, you could have made the case there as an alternative. But again, and good for the connections and good for Brad and company. But you wanted, even if the big two were going to lose, you wanted the stretch to have some fireworks. And it just didn't work out that way.
Two things.
Yesterday.
Idiomatic was 3-1 on the morning line. I think she drifted up in the final wagering. We got
4-1 exactly, $10.
We got the type of separation.
From that was surprising.
David Aragona kind of
he was on.
Anticipate he got it right once again that there would be. I think he had 4-5 and 5-2 on the morning line. I think what she ended up 3-5 Nest and 3-1. But I will say this, and this is the type of thing that I was anticipating watching the racing today. That the racing surface and the way it was playing in my mind's eye gave Idiomatic a bump up. I mean, it was going to be clear on the racetrack. And I thought, it's a type of situation. I never walk away from my public picks ever. That Clairiere had a 10% chance to win on that racetrack. She was just, I'm a big believer in how the flow of the racetrack goes. And I thought it was all for Idiomatic and all against Clairiere. I mean, that's as I was watching the races. Trust me, Seth. The first 5-6 races of the day, I think I had 3 horses run last, and I saw the type of running style they had, and I'm like, "Oh man, this isn't good for Clairiere. She's going to be the same style off of it and making a late run. That's not going to work today."
Like turn.
I had horses, Seth, multiple horses that to the untrained eye, and mine is not the expert trained eye, but I've seen enough races. If you didn't know any better, you would think, as my wife said to me, "Oh, you're in a good spot." I go, "Oh, no." And my horses literally would go back to last. I'm like, that's not winning. You have no chance with that running style. So hopefully on a clear, fast racetrack, they'll show down again. I think Idiomatic had everything her way, and she took advantage of it because, as you said, she wasn't a long shot going in. She was 3-1 behind 2 beasts. So that means she's got game, and, Judd Mott wins, so good for them. So, second half of the day was much better for me than the first half as we pursue beating the meat and the boss man making boss moves in the TU.
Good.
We're up 1.
There we go.
We're up 1 as this long slog through. He had a good day and it got us home. So that's it. Hey, you want to do the promos or what do you want to do?
My promo sheet is gone, but I know that there's a fan appreciation day at the Gallop Inn.
They cleaned up too well, is what you're saying?
I think, because it's usually sitting right there and it is not there. But I know there's a fan appreciation day at the Gallop Inn. And there is a promo at the Racebook, which I've forgotten. Maybe the guys can remind me in my ear as I vamp here what the promo.
They have their own gig going on. You have no chance. You are not in their list. We apologize for the promo, so we'll hopefully get it out to you. But it's a big day. Maybe we'll just
tomorrow. I know is a double promo at the Racebook, so keep that in mind.
Very good. Tomorrow's New York Breeders' Day up here. So I guess.
Speaking of which, let me promo because of fun top of the hour. We will be joined by Ramiro Restrepo, one of the co-owners of Mage. So that'll be fun to get his feelings here on Travers Day.
Travers Day. Good get.
And then a little bit later on, and that's
get.
what tilted me in this direction. You mentioned New York Showcase Day tomorrow. We'll have Naj Thompson on. He's the executive director of the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. So we'll talk a little bit about that New York action coming up tomorrow.
It's the wrong day for it, but I would have gone at Naj with he made a movie tweet out about 6 months ago that I found very intriguing. It's not the right day for it, but there'll be another right day for it. It's the weekend. It's time for the DePaula Chevrolet Play of the Day. So thus, it must be Kevin Cox with his Travers Play of the Day.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week's Chevy Silverado is just $539 a month with zero due at inception. Yes, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy here with your DePaula Play of the Day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We've been giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we've been basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager. And after showing a flat bet profit last year, we're just about at the break-even point this year. We're going to try to get your big day off on a positive start with a sensible, solid selection, a rare early morning wager. Race number 1, the number 8, Wallsteed. This bay colt from the Kenny McPeak barn was dead game in the debut a half a month back, overcoming a rough onset to pick up 20% of the pot in a well-clear runner-up finish. 2-year-old is a half to a present-day hard-knocking mare who is 9 for 36 thus far and has earned more than $216,000 to date. According to DRF Formulator, the aforementioned trainer is a crisp 3 for 7 with second-time starters under these exact conditions who are in the money less than 32 days back at 15 to 1 or less, and is a positive return on investment in that regards. So once again, our DePaula Play of the Day is in race number 1, the number 8, Wallsteed. Have a happy and very safe Travers Day.
When you think trucks, think DePaula.
The all-new 2024 Chevy Trax is here. Bigger, roomier, seats 5, and lots of technology. And just $449 a month, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank the great people at DePaula Chevrolet for sponsoring once again throughout the meet the play of the day. And the Brooklyn Cowboy wanted to get it right out. He wanted to get to lunch with it, the result behind him, because he wants the 11:40 pick of the day. And a little birdie said me there might also be some more action on the first race today. So in the opener, it's not quite the race we were expecting. As we've said, you go back, I know Uncle Mo is, the valedictorian of the Travers Day debut maiden special weights. Was it Silver? I think Silver Train was the high water mark before Uncle Mo, but Uncle Mo has set the bar.
I will toss out another debut performance that was notable at Saratoga. It was yesterday with Fierceness. I mean, Rapoli and Nest and Pletcher, I got disappointed in the big race, but Fierceness looked pretty good.
We'll see how it comes out of the slot today, out of that race into it. It did dominate yesterday. So 2-year-olds with the capital R, not in the conditions up there. Maiden special weights going 7-8, kicking off Travers Day 2023.
3, 8, 7, and 2 for me. I'm going to go into more depth when we do Dark Horse Play of the Day on the number 3 Secret Lover, because that is my Dark Horse Play of the Day and was a few weeks ago as well. Unfortunately, the morning line is compared to what we got last time because didn't maybe do what you always talk about. Go run worse, and didn't quite do that. I'm going to be interested to see what the odds are. But again, I'll get to that in a little more depth in a couple of minutes. Excuse me. I do have Kevin Cox's horse right underneath, Wallstead. What a long, strange trip it's been, right?
Yes.
Some reference that it is not in my musical catalog that I am not.
Maybe it's appropriate with Fish. They're kind of like cousins.
So I'm not a fan of either, but clearly going by SPAC last night, there are plenty of. So I have that one in the mix off a debut effort that was very good, very notable as one to build on. And then First Trumpet, who showed nice improvement, start 1 to start 2 for Charlie Baker, and I think could be a player as well. So for me, 3, 8, 7, and 2.
I think the race is wide open. I have no Well, one thing I do like, if the racing form is not going to put the capital box R in the conditions, that's fine, because it's far more important that they put the R in the past performances, which they have for your, in this case. That is far more important because we can read the RNA up there.
I just can't figure out why they do it sometimes and
good luck figuring out the angle. I'm 128. I thought it was a wide open card, wide open race. The horses who have displayed something on debut. Well, David Aragona's got good vision, and he saw it, and they're lower prices here today. So I have the first time starter for Ken McPeak. I have AP Indy and Awesome Again as grandsires. Not too often you get Breeders' Cup Classic winners on both sides, but I thought maybe the 7/8 we'd be running late. We'll see. I was hoping for a big upset to get this day off. And then I have the 2 of the 8 as Seth has. But I got to tell you, the 3 is in the mix for me. The 9 is in the mix. It's a very interesting race, in my opinion. Watch the 5 win by a pole. So 1, 2, 8 kicking it off.
And again, we have one race off the turf today. That's going to be this race number 2. State bred allowance, non-winners are 1 other than runners, going 5.5 now on the main track.
And I think in this is one of those cases. We had the case the other day. The main body basically left the studio. And I think when I make the over-under 5.5, and we nailed it. So they didn't put it up. But now this is a race where I just think the MTOs, it's 14, 12, 13 for me. As I went through, as I would want to do, and I think as I was listening to Frank Miramati rattle off the scratches, and he went 1, 2, 3. I was like, okay, I didn't embarrass myself. Here, I think it's the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 the 6, excuse me, the 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 might stay in. Here I have right on top. City Mischief, I think is going to come out here from Mark Cassidy, but I have no way of knowing. The 7, the 1A, I got to think that they're going to come out. I mean, I think it's going to be a race decimated by scratches in the main body, and that these MTOs are in good spots. So I have 14, 12, 13.
I had the 1 on top. I think City Mischief maybe stays. I had the 1 on top on turf, and I kept that 1 on top on dirt, and then pulled in the MTOs. I thought City Mischief, the last off the turfer, was not good. That was well over a year ago. You go around the page, though, down at the bottom of the page, I thought those were competitive.
Oh, so, well, yeah, I agree with that. But you also skipped off the second to last off the turf race.
That showed some punch, though, before fading. Did fade, but that was at 7. And this is at 5.5, and had some.
So
early
you like
speed.
That Fairgrounds one?
So
the other Fairgrounds,
the one's down at the bottom of the page, and we have to get back to those. But I'll trust if Mark stays in, he thinks maybe we can get back. And then I pulled the MTOs in and tilted slightly towards Newport Bridge being lightly raced and Linda
14,
Rice.
Right?
Yeah,
Newport
1,
Bridge.
14, 13, and 10 in the.
You make a great point, because if Mark Cassidy, the Hall of Famer, stays in, then I think that's a good sign. I mean, it overrides the performances because horse is 9-5 on the turf. If he comes back in that race, probably be 9-5 depending on the field size. So you want to run him on to the 3rd starter allowance, 9 furlongs. This might be our first squirrel visit.
3. Well, he's. What was it? 1 year we had one come right.
Yes, right up on the stage.
3,
which was less taxing than the horse.
Oh, the horse
that wanted to
come in the 10th. 3, 4, 6, and 1 for me. Money Supply on top. As the name indicates, started the career in the barn of Klarovich, was claimed last time. However, they dropped the horse in for a tag. And as is often the case up here at Saratoga, when the Chad Klarovich team does that, the horse runs well, but as is often the case as well, was claimed. But I think off of that race is certainly a player in here. And that race, very good number. You go down the page, there are comparable numbers. So just, I think, getting back into a good spot here, good form, and I think is going to be okay at this starter level off of what we saw last time. Mr. Curlin in the 2nd slot, typically is in the hunt early and sometimes fades as the horse did last time, but sometimes hangs on. That race 3 back with the triple digit kind of jumps off the page. If we get anywhere close to that, we're right in the thick of things this afternoon. Watasha in the 3rd spot off a nice win last time, a win and a claim for Joe Sharp, who also with the win and the claim, has money supply in here. So Joe Sharp maybe winds up with an exacta finish, or at least a couple of horses in the plays exacta, trifecta, superfecta, because I think both of these play with this bunch. 3, 4, 6, and 1.
I'm 4, 3, 7, and I was almost dismissive, Seth, of the 103. I think the last race gets it done. I thought was in a very disadvantageous
the
position.
103 is an outlier. There's no question about it.
And that this time, Mystical Curlin, I think, gets a very advantageous race scenario. So I like Mystical Curlin very much in here. I do have money supply directly underneath it. Then Mighty Atlas at a big price on the outside. I'm not going to sleep on that runner picking up some pieces, but I know money supply is the 0.5 point favorite over Mystical Curlin. I'll be interested to see the wager, but I think Mystical Curlin, as disadvantageous as it was last time, gets the break this time, and I want to take advantage. 4, 3, 7 as we come up on the Travers Day dark horse play of the day.
No, we have to do the 4th, right?
Oh, we have to do the 4th. That's
with
right.
The 13,
all these races.
13, we're doing a 4th race before our first break today. Optional claimers, non-winners of 2 other than, and in the 4th, they will travel 3/4 of a mile.
And I'll be interested in your selections here, because I think that's appropriate that we have 5 different horses. I thought it was very wide open in this race. And although Lord Captain is the 7-2 favorite, I think David has done a great service to the public in that that's about as high as David. I've seen David make 4-1 favorites. Maybe I've seen him make 9-2 favorites. But 7-2 is in the higher ranges for favorites. But I think that sends the correct message to this race. But I do like Lord Captain, and that's 7-2 in a race that is on balance, has about 6 major players. 7-2 I'd be okay with. 8-5 I would not be okay with. And maybe on Travers Day we have many new viewers as such, but price is extremely important to me over the long haul of doing this. But Lord Captain making the 3rd start since the middle of May. I like the first start. Then we got the regression. So hopefully the offspring of Lord Nelson. And I've mentioned this infrequently about Lord Nelson. He might fly under the radar for a lot of people, but he is one of those late going up to the Breeders' Cup scratches in the sprint. He was going to be my pick. He was going to be a major player in it. So if you're not familiar with Lord Nelson, just look him up. This is what I expect him to do as a stallion. My Harbor's Dream, and then the 1. So 6-2-1 in a tremendously competitive 4th.
3, 1, 9, and 8 for me. I put Osborne on top. I wasn't sure about Lord Captain stepping back from 1.25 miles. I'm wondering if that maybe dulled him a little bit. And then race 2 back, another one where the number seems to be a little bit of an aberration. So going to be interesting to see what that one does with that scenario. But I put Osborne on top. Ron Maquette, trainee, spent the winter down at Oaklawn, then came up here to Saratoga April 1st to late July layoff, and maybe benefits from that start and moves forward. And I think has numbers underneath that are good enough to compete very well in here. Scotiatore in the 2nd spot off a nice win last time in a similar event. These are the kind where I say, why not right back? And I think this horse will be a player again today, given what we saw last time, as I say, in a very similar type of a race. And in the 3rd spot, I'm going to kind of draw a line through the last one for Bold Journey. The races just before that, there are 2 turf races just before that were good, but the dirt races just before those were also solid number-wise as compared to this bunch. So I think this one, as I say, I'm going to have to draw a line through the last, was the beaten favorite. I think a rebound is very, very possible in here. So for me, in the 4th at Saratoga, 3, 1, 9, and 8.
And now is it time for the dark horse play of the day, which has already been foreshadowed.
Yeah, I alluded, or more than alluded to it earlier. Secret Lover, dark horse play of the day. And this was my dark horse play of the day back on August 10th. And if you might remember, because I talked about it the next day, they're off, you lose 34-1. And you watch that head-on shot here. They there's an accordion, and I'm toast after that. But subsequently, I thought the horse ran pretty well late. And I think that then gives to what I talked about. We were 34-1 that day, and I was kind of feeling this could be an interesting dark horse play of the day. We're 5-1 on the morning line here because, again, I think the late run to be fourth was attractive. There's a sibling called Wildwood Bye that was fourth in the career debut, then second, then won the third, and then won the fifth start. So a couple of wins, a second and a third in the first 5 starts of the career. And by Kozan, I mention it whenever Kozan is in the mix. He's an interesting sire of win early types for me. So again, I had plenty of legit trouble in the debut effort, still ran decently to be an okay fourth in there with the win early breeding. We'll see. Well, I'll take the 5-1. Hey, we cross the finish line first. I'll take whatever we get with the dark horse play. But I wonder if it might float up just a little bit in there. But I have dark horse play of the day today. Race number 1, horse number 3, Secret Lover. And just before we go to the commercial, yes, I did pull up the promos, and today at the Racebook, it's the Play the Board contest, which is always a lot of fun. So if you want to go down and have a little extra fun, and again, it's a fan appreciation day at the Gallop Inn. If you're a patron out there, stop by. Free food contest, past performances, always a lot of fun. Fan appreciation day, but it gives us our chance to say thank you to you.
I always sign up for the extra fun. Put me right in line.
I sign up for the fun, but I'm
extra fun.
I'm all about extra fun.
Take a quick break. When we come back, the middle pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Gentlemen, up to race number 5, top of the stretch, mile 3/16, Mellon Turf, and for 62 or 2X.
1, 7, 2, and 5. I'm going to put Dyna Drive on top. Steps out of Stakes Company for Tom Morley and Company. Flying P. We had Jay Provenzano on the show about a week or so ago. Hasn't been seen since the middle of June, but again, has been racing in stakes. The Monmouth, Fort Marcy, going back to the end of last year, the Red Smith and Knickerbocker, maybe just kind of, and the last 2, the first 2 starts of this year, Stakes Company, and ran 5th and 6th, but was tossing numbers that fit nicely with this group. So maybe just kind of getting realistic here and looking for a slot where the horse can perform. James Aloysius in the 2nd spot, relatively lightly raced, but in the hunt far more often than not. Came up to Saratoga, and I thought ran okay last time. Was 4th, but 4th by less than a couple of lengths. So I would expect this one to be a performer in with this bunch. And then Catch That Party for Michael Dubb. I ran into Michael the other day, the day of the BCCA, their annual party up here, but they do good work as well. That's always kind of a fun event. Also, they have the educational facilities for the backstretch workers downstate, then added the new one up here a couple of years ago. So again, that great job there. But I'm going to put Catch That Party in the mix and think we rebound to a better effort with the return to grass today. 1, 7, 2, and 5.
The 10 is just a main track only times union thing. It's 6, 7, and if it's a turf race, the 10 has to come out. I would bring the 2 in. Dyna Drive is to me the main threat of all of these horses that I've selected. At the end, Lupin Vega, I think, had 2 firsters win, but has had a good season as a stallion in this country. And Nobel is my top pick on the turf race, James Aloysius. Underneath, I expect there to be give in the ground, and I think Catch That Party will be fine with it. I think Dynadrive will be fine. Actually, my top pick has run on the synthetic well over there. On the soft, not so much. Now, I will say this. I am of the opinion that the good to soft most recent effort, that is more applicable to our good. I think when they say soft, it's something we would never run on. It's a true bog. So unless they're running a grade 1 turf race like we did a couple of years ago down at Belmont, but I'm 6-7-2 when the 10 scratches out.
Moving on, race number 6 this afternoon. We are looking at 2-year-old maiden special weight fillies, 6 furlongs the distance.
4-3-8 for me. And Shoplifting by Into Mischief, which is enough. But Miss Shop won the Personal Ensign about 15 years ago by a pole, I think. Right? I think for Mr. Jerkins. But first-time starter, cost nearly $500,000 for Anthony Dutrow. There's other places to go in here easily. I think I'm going to get lost in the wagering shuffle. As you see, my partner doesn't even have. So Shoplifting the 4, my top pick. Antenna the 3, making the second start. Just got beat on debut. A fine effort at Monmouth Park. And for third, Here's Your Trouble, Chad Brown's firster. The offspring from Munning scares me, as does about 6 others. 4-3-8.
9, 8, 3, and 4. I'm going to put just FYI on top, going out for Bill Mott, who's having a very good meet. Justify, a very potent sire, but the dam produced a sibling called Inside Job, won its career debut, albeit at Will Rogers, but did show some potent early punch. Another sibling called Oglethorpe took 4 starts to win, but ran second, third, second, then won in those first 4 starts. So I thought that was good. So top and bottom to me, and the trainer going well. Just FYI on top. Here's Your Trouble in the second spot. Munnings does very well with win early types. The horse worked 10 flat before attracting over $250,000 at OBS April. Sibling called It's a Wrap. 13 wins and 34 starts. Took 6 starts to win, but also had 3 other in-the-money finishes. Another sibling called Callaghan, 5th in debut, but then won, then ran 8th, and then ripped off 3 wins after that. So I thought there was some nice win early, and it's Chad Brown who can have them ready. And then Antenna in the 3rd spot. Todd Pletcher, runner by Munnings, that ran okay in debut, but boy, the number's a little light. But that said, I won't be shocked if this horse improves on that and maybe improves significantly in here. I don't think a 46 is going to get it done. I think this horse has to
Not
improve,
on Travers Day.
but I think that is likely with this one. So for me, 9, 8, 3, and 4.
Grade 1 action commences at approximately 3:07 today. The Forego.
I've liked Gunite for a while, and I'm stuck there. And, yesterday it cost me that I really like Clairiere, and I went back to her. And so we'll see how this works out for me, because there is no denying. I was heading to the window to cash my ticket in the Vanderbilt. Gunite looked so good late in the race, but Elite Power pinned the ears back and just ran very, very well. So now with an extra furlong, how is that going to work for me or against me? But as I say, I've liked Gunite. I'm going to stick there. Interesting, I had Tyler Gaffleone day before, and he was saying he thought he moved a little early on Gunite. He said, I was trying to be aggressive and open. And I turned to him and I said,
some of us bettors.
I love that. And when I said,
Sometimes.
I love when the jockey's aggressive and says to the rest of them, you try and catch me. But we'll see what he does today with this one. Gunite on top, but Elite Power clearly the one to beat. If you're looking for an alternative, maybe Synthesis was well beaten in the Vanderbilt, but on a best effort, could be an interesting player at a little bit of a price. Leon Sadler taking a little shot with High Oak in here. That'll be interesting. But I have a 2, 3, and 5.
And depending on how the rack, I thought High Oaks, I give them kudos because I thought High Oaks July 29th race was good. I mean, obviously it's an allowance race, and this is big time grade 1 racing. Now you have an Eclipse Award. How far down the line does this send Elite Power if he wins today to the statue?
he's certainly, I mean, as the defending champ and having run well this year, he's already in a pretty good spot.
Because to me, if I had one, I count the Saudi Arabia race. I don't care what people say. That to me is one of the, that counts. And he's, he wins today. That's it for me. I don't have a vote though. I don't think I've said it certainly this year, but this is the Forego handicap, rightfully so. And I have Gunite getting 6 pounds, and I want every advantage I can get. The greater advantage is I think I'm going to get greater separation in price than I got the last time. So to me, I get weight. I was, getting 2. Now I'm getting 6. I'm going to get a better price. And I am all for third start coming out of Dubai, third start coming out of Riyadh. This is the showdown, the likes of which, I like Gunite. I hope I get a clear, fast racetrack. And as the guy says, I'll take my chances with Gunite.
I will say it's not a handicap, though. Those are weights by the condition of the race.
I apologize. This should be a handicap.
You're still getting the getting the weight.
Well, thanks for the correction. Yeah. The Forego should have been the last handicap in New York.
That would have been, you're absolutely right. That would have been very, very appropriate.
When just before they got rid of handicaps. Yeah. But that's a good call. But getting 6 pounds based on the allowance conditions is tremendous.
8th race today, allowance non-winners are 1, other than 5.5 on the turf. Top of my page, I have written tough race.
I agree. Once again, you're going to see 15, 1, and 6 to 15, is a Times Union type thing. So I'm down inside with Elusive Edge, who's going to be a big price in here. But I have to tell you, I like the 5.5 today. Shortest distance they run since the comeback race. But you look at other races, this is, I get Johnny V. It's going to be a big price in here, but it's a wide open race. I have Highly Flammable, a major player in a tough race for me. But as a big bomb on Travers Day, I have Elusive Edge shortening up to what I think might be the more preferred distance.
For me, 6, 12, 13, 10, and 8. Highly Flammable on top, going out for Mark Cassidy off a nice win earlier in the meet and allowance, starter allowance company, Tri-Stakes company for the first time, but maybe a good spot to take that. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a not.
Did
still
you give out 5 horses?
I did just because if you see it,
it's emblematic.
I'm like my third try around. I kind of
you got the old carrot.
I shoehorned the 13 in. The more I looked, the more I thought if that one makes it off the AE list, I want the Cassie Live Oak Runner Super Quest. But again, that one's on the AE list. So Highly Flammable. Again, this is a non-winners of 1, but stepping out of the starter allowance company, I think well suited in here off of that win. Second spot, we're going to go with Southern Horse. Irad Ortiz hops on board this Southern California shipper, moving into the barn of David Jacobson. But boy, what we saw in Southern California was very intriguing. And then in the third slot, I am going to that AE runner, lightly raced, but Mark Cassidy, Live Oak Plantation, and certainly in the first 2 starts of the career has shown some promise. If that horse does sneak in, at first only horse on the AE list, so just needs one to step out. And as I say, the more I looked, the more I thought, if that one gets in, I want it in the mix. So 6, 12, 13, and 10. And again, if the 13 doesn't get in, the 8's at the bottom of my mix.
And it's getting sunnier. It's not too often I beg, but please, please, please today, because it's a great card. We take our final our second to last break, right?
Yeah, we got one after.
We have one more after this. When we come back, another pick 4 for you.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
In front, but here comes High Chaparral.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on what's turning out to be a nicer and nicer morning. We can only hope so. Ninth race on the card. One of the great races annually, started in my adult lifetime and brilliantly renamed to honor
the Chief,
one of the best people to ever walk the earth. Mr. Jerkins gets the grade 1, and this one is about as good as they get. There might only be 6, and we've had years with 11, 12, and everything, but the top 4 on this make it about as deep as I can recall.
I went 5, 6, 4, and 3, but I could have easily. The top 2 for me are just so close. But New York Thunder, coming out of what is going to go down as one of the better performances of Saratoga 2023 in the Amsterdam, jumped up 13 points on the buyer scale to run a 110. The question is, can you back that up? Can you go back to that? And if the horse doesn't, Arabian Lion comes out of a 109 buyer in the Woody Stevens, and he has been back to Southern California and has had time to kind of recuperate from that and is clearly working very well and comes east for Bob Baffert today. So I really debated, went back and forth, but I landed slightly on New York Thunder, Arabian Lion in the second slot. Fort Bragg off a triple-digit win in the Dwyer is maybe interesting as an alternative. Verifying on a best effort, I think, becomes a player potentially in here. It seems like it's through the top 2, however, and as I say, I just went kind of tepidly in favor of New York Thunder, as I could have almost flipped a coin here, but 5, 6, 4, and 3.
I think if I spent another hour on this race handicapping, I would not have been any closer to an answer that I was very comfortable with. But I think if this race had been run yesterday, my exacta would have been up against it. I'm slow to love 6.5 furlong speed figures or such. Too much data that they seem to spike high, but the effort was stupendous. I guess at the end of the day, what I'm most comfortable as, I think Fort Bragg should get a race set up that he's salivating at. I mean, if he can stay in contact with the field, and he has shown enough giddy up lately that he can, boy, I like my chances at 7/8. And I thought verifying, if this is, I don't say this word well, but it's the right word, incendiary.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, but I have to say, so incendiary pace, like 21-1, 43-2, that I'm going to be salivating at Fort Bragg and verifying at that price, and maybe even Drew's Gold. I mean, that's all I could come up with, that the rates flow would be so hot, the pace. But Fort Bragg, I don't think absolutely needs that. I think he can stay on him and be the best in the last 8. So it's 4, 3, 6 for me, taking the 2 horses, shortening up over the 2 horses that I think will be setting the pace in a very good renewal of the Mr. Alan Jerkins.
The Ballerina, race number 10 this afternoon, scheduled to go off just a little before 5 o'clock. These are the fillies and mares sprinting at 7 furlongs. Grade 1, $500,000 up for grabs.
And with the matron and the futurity no longer being what they were, where Naira could have run the Vosberg, have 3 consecutive grade 1s, they can at Saratoga, and they've done it again. And this race is similar. I mean, Echo Zulu coming out of the 6 furlong honorable miss was one of the, 3 performances of the meet, one of the 2 performances of the meet. If you go back, when Matareo won the Acorn, Echo Zulu, people probably forget, was scratched at the last minute. That's why you see that 3-10 shot. My fear is that, well, one thing is you have Goodnight Olive. You think Goodnight Olive is, I don't know. I have her for third. There's a chance in this race that Echo Zulu could run them off their feet. That I don't think can happen in the Alan Jerkins, but I think it could happen here. My only thought that she won't do that was she's coming off of by far a career best. I just don't, you have your personal best and then you have all the rest. So I wanted a horse who could sit off the pace, and this one is just a bomb. Mary quite contrary. This is just a flyer, folks. I mean, this race goes to the 6 and the 7, which I have underneath, and I just thought maybe that last furlong will be mine. That's really it. This one, I'm just taking a bomb for bomb's sake because I couldn't separate the 6 and 7 at short prices.
I have the same trepidation about Echo Zulu that I had about New York Thunder. Big number, as you said. Step forward 15 points. Can we string a couple together? But the more I look, 3 for 3 at Saratoga. Asmussen with sprinters has certainly been very potent over the past few years. And this one just looked so good last time. I tilt in that direction. The champ, Goodnight Olive, coming out of a win in the Better Roses. And 2 for 2 at Saratoga over the career. Caramel Swirl is the one to me that if you're looking for an alternative is perhaps a little bit interesting for Bill Mott, who's going very, very well. So in the Ballerina, race number 10, 6, 7, 8, and 5.
3 grade ones down. Take a quick break. 2 more to go.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Keeping the train rolling of Grade 1 races. This one on the turf, 3 turns, the Sword Dancer.
I have it 1, 5, 6, and 7. When I originally went through the race, I had Pioneering Spirit on top, Soldier Rising in the 3rd spot, and I debated back and forth. And Channel Maker's interesting to me, but I eventually I went back, watched the replay of the Bowling Green, and you can draw a line through that. Soldier Rising avoided a fallen rider on the turn, and at that point, he was kind of out of the race. I'm going to look for a rebound to a better effort, closer to what we saw a couple of starts back in the Manhattan. I think Soldier Rising can be very interesting today with a cleaner trip. Pioneering Spirit, though, they scratched from the John's Call to take their shot in here. Comes in off a string of wins for Linda Rice. And I just found it intriguing. And I don't think this is like a field of world beaters on the older turf stakes side. And so I think it's intriguing. They're taking the shot, and I think they're going to be okay with taking the shot. And Channel Maker, can the 9-year-old put a couple of Saratoga graded stakes on the resume in 2023? Comes out of the win in the Bowling Green, again, at age 9. He'll be a fun story this afternoon, certainly. But for me, I went 1, 5, 6, and 7.
His buyers certainly are consistent. 271. I won't get the price on Verstappen that I received in the Bowling Green, but I think we're a major player in here. I don't think we have to improve that much to get the W at a big price. Stone Age, the 2 starts as a 3-year-old last summer. We certainly expect better. Was the beaten favorite in the Hong Kong Vase. And just as, based on my other life, I don't think I'll ever get to that big day at Hong Kong in early December. My wife would give me the old stink eye leaving for Hong Kong. But that is a major world-class race, the beaten favorite, and that was only 2 races back. Hasn't run since February, and I like Soldier Rising. Also, to add to the thing, for the bettors, it was a no-show because we had that brief clerical error where they had him scratch for 8 seconds and then had to take him out. But I like Verstappen very much today in the Sword Dancer.
I'll add Channel Maker at 9 years old. This will be his 6th try in the Sword Dancer. He won in 2020, second in 2018, but that's hard to believe. 6th try in the Sword Dancer. All right, here it is, the exclamation point for every Saratoga season, and this year will be no exception, with winners from each of the 3 Triple Crown races, last year's 2-year-old champ as well. It's the Grade 1, $1.25 million Travers at 1.25 miles.
And similar to the Mr. Alan Jerkins race, I could have looked at this. I do, and you don't even have him in the mix, but I do have, I like Arcangelo very much. I thought if the weather went south, Forte might have too much of an advantage, but I like the Jenna Antonucci. There's been no race since the Belmont, and I think going from 12, usually you have to pick a 9 furlong race. You're at a disadvantage. I'd rather have the time off to get back to 10. I will confess also that I think this is fair to say that Mike Welch's observations of the workouts have indicated that this Offspring of Arrogate is doing very well since the Belmont. And I was also thinking, I'll ask you, Seth, with the betting in here, I thought I might do better, like with the price. I mean, Forte is 7-5. We'll see how the people do on him off of the Jim Dandy, and I have him for second, but I like Arcangelo today very, very much. Forte, who is really never taken a bad step. I mean, he's had obviously a well-documented, interesting post-Florida Derby. And then this is just a heart. I'm shocked that Seth has him in third also. Disarm, who I liked in the Derby. This is top flight competition. 9 furlongs, they're adding blinkers. It was a rather listless performance in the Jim Dandy. Okay, I'll take that one out. Let's see. So 2-1-6 in this year's Travers.
I went 4-1-6-2. I did put Meja on top. I think they got what they wanted, and we will ask Ramiro because he's in the house, as is Naj. Love it when the guests are here early. But we'll ask him, and I think they got what they wanted out of the Haskell. And so I think he comes in his best race, 1.25 miles in the Kentucky Derby. I'm hoping the 1.25 miles hits him right straight between the eyes again this afternoon. So I'll go with the Derby winner, getting back to that Derby distance. He reported to be working well also. I'll note here, I put Arcangelo in the 4th spot, and I may absolutely kick myself because the reports are working well. We've shown a couple of times already over the past few days that great video Tim Wilkin tweeted out where he's in the round pen, Arcangelo bucking and kicking, and so feeling very good. But 77 days from the Belmont until today, if we work back from the Kentucky Derby.
Is that Birdstone?
Well, wait. We work back from the Kentucky Derby, the 77 days would put us in mid-February. People aren't jumping on mid-February horses going into the Derby. Now we're a little bit later, and so they're a little more mature, certainly. But I just was a little shy on the 77 day break between the Belmont and today. But as you noted, Birdstone won the Belmont, came up and won the Travers 84 days. So it's been done. We'll see what happens this afternoon. But that's what made me shy away from Arcangelo a little bit. Forte, as you say, has done a little wrong throughout the career, 7 wins and 9 starts. And Disarm, I put that one in the mix because if somebody's looking for an alternative, I thought that was the interesting alternative.
You know why I'm rooting for Disarm?
So 4-1-6-2. I don't.
Just another Grade 1 winner for the 3-year-olds. There's no champion.
Oh, well.
Disarm wins.
Yeah.
It's going to be settled in the Breeders' Cup. All right, at approximately 6:48, the 13th and finale, 3-year-olds and up, mile on the turf.
One entry, 8, 2, and 3. Right to Win and Growth Capital, Chad Klarovich. To me, they're fairly equal. I could go with either one of them, but I think matching up with this group, they look to have potentially a little bit of an edge. Torrigo off the last effort, but maybe stacks up with the top two, and that was the first start of the year, so maybe improve now as a 3-year-old. And Fly Right, I'm going to look for a rebound getting back to the grass today. One entry, 8, 2, and 3.
All right, here. Conversing, I just, we'll get quick. It's a tight day for a lot of people. I like conversing strongly. We draw a very good post position. Back-to-back second-place finishes last year. Makes the first start since October. We're down inside 3, 1E, and 8 for me on a 13-race card. I will say this, I don't believe in jinxing and things like that. But if the weather continues to improve as it is, this will be a spectacular day of racing and wagering. And I'm not being facetious when I say, if I don't win money on the Travers, I want Disarm to win just to make the head scratcher even greater. But the racing is phenomenal. He stays. I go up next, Racing Across America.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Thorough Pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.